All right, and it is Sunday night radio drama, etc., with myself, T.W. Hansen. It is Easter Sunday, and I figured that a timely and appropriate thing to do on Easter Sunday would be to read some of the poems of William Butler Yeats, starting, of course, with The Second Coming, which is probably the most relevant piece of Easter-related literature that I mean it's about the only piece of Easter related literature that still has any relevance or meaning to me on a personal level. You know. All right. Without too much introspection, I mean we do plenty of that as it is around here. The Second Coming, William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the Second Coming is at hand. The Second Coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle, and what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Happy Easter, everybody. Incidentally, I do apologize for any trouble in my voice. I am recovering from a wicked head cold, which took me out of commission for last Thursday's broadcast. Fortunately, John and Dominic took over for me. If you were looking for me last Thursday, here I am today. I am silently joined in the studio this evening by occasional River West radio impresario Brendan O'Day. I expect nothing from him in terms of commentary or anything, but I'm looking at him. See, there he is. Not of colossal importance, but none of this is per se. That's what makes it good. Important things have a way of collapsing under their own weight. So, keeping with our William Butler Yeats reading on this, our Easter Sunday, we're going to dive right into Sailing to Byzantium. So here we go. That is no country for old men. The young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations. At their song the salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flesh, or fowl, commend all summer long whatever is begotten, born, and dies, caught in that sensual music, all neglect, monuments of unaging intellect. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap its hands and sing and louder sing for every tatter in its mortal dress, nor is there singing school but studying, monuments of their own magnificence. And therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. O sages standing in God's holy fire, as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, Pern and a gyre, and be the singing masters of my soul. And, I'm digressing here. God, soul, metaphysical constructs. I'm just saying I appreciate them on a casual level, but nothing. The soul is a fantasy. Consume my heart away, sick with desire and fastened to a dying animal. It knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. Once out of nature I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make of hammered gold and gold enameling to keep a drowsy emperor awake, or set upon a golden bough to sing to lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is past, or passing, or to come. I love this stuff. I genuinely do. There isn't a lot of literature that I even give such as even a damn about these days, but Yeats harkens back to my younger days when Easter 1916. In fact, it has the word Easter in the title. How appropriate is this? I didn't think there, in my casual appreciation of Yeats, I'm thinking, Easter, the second coming. Absolutely. But there is, in fact, a poem called Easter 1916, so I'll read that too. I have met them at close of day, coming with vivid faces from counter or desk among gray 18th century houses. I have passed with a nod of the head or polite, meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite, meaningless words, and thought, before I had done, of a mocking tale or a gibe to please a companion around the fire at the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is worn, all changed utterly, a terrible beauty is born. That woman's days were spent in ignorant goodwill, her nights in argument, until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweet than hers, when young and beautiful she rode to harriers? This man had kept a school, and rode our winged horse. This other, his helper, his friend, was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end, so sensitive his nature seemed, so daring and sweet his thought. This other man I had dreamed a drunken, vainglorious lout. He had done most bitter wrong to some who are near my heart. Yet I number him in the song. He, too, had resigned his part in the casual comedy. He, too, has been changed in his turn, transformed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Hearts with one purpose alone through summer and winter seem enchanted to a stone to trouble the living stream. The horse that comes from the road, the rider, the birds that range from cloud to tumbling cloud, minute by minute they change. A shadow of cloud on the stream changes minute by minute. A horse hoof slides on the brim, and a horse plashes within it. The long-legged moorhens dive, and hens to moorcocks call. Minute to minute they live, the stone's in the midst of it all. Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart. Oh, when may it suffice? That is heaven's part, our part, to murmur name upon name as a mother names her child when sleep at last has come on limbs that had run wild. What is it but nightfall? No, not night, but death. Was it needless death after all? For England may keep faith. For all that is done and said, we know their dream enough to know when dreamed and are dead. And what if excessive love bewildered them until they died? I write it out in a verse, MacDonagh and MacBride and Connolly and Pearse, and now and in time to be, wherever green is worn, are changed, changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born, and this, of course, is in the verge and turmoil of the First World War. In context here, and war has a sort of tragic timelessness about it, thanks to certain inherent flaws in our genetic makeup, not necessarily flaws per se, but inescapable evolutionary truths. We are a quarrelsome and violent species at times. Nothing we can do except try to be decent to our fellow human beings. Do that when you can. It's not bad. Uh, what shall we read? What shall we read? The Tower. William Butler Yeats, continuing with our reading of Yeats for the and in future there will actually be proper radio drama. I'm just I had nothing ready. I freely cop to my own incompetence. It is the least I can do to you, our dedicated listener. All the same, I shall read for you The Tower by William Butler Yeats, and hope you like it. What shall I do with this absurdity, O heart, O troubled heart, this caricature, decrepit age that has been tied to me as to a dog's tail? Never had I more excited, passionate, fanatical imagination, nor an ear and eye that more expected the impossible, no, not in boyhood when with rod and fly, or the humbler worm, I climbed Ben Bulben's back and had the livelong summer day to spend. It seems that I must bid the muse go pack, choose Plato and Plotinus for a friend, until imagination, ear and eye can be content with argument and deal in abstract things, or be derided by a sort of battered kettle at the heel. I pace upon the battlements and stare on the foundations of a house, or where tree, like a sooty finger, starts from earth, and sends imagination forth under the day's declining beam, and call images and memories from ruin or from ancient trees, for I would ask a question of them all. Beyond that ridge lived Mrs. French, and once, when every silver candlestick or sconce lit up the dark mahogany, and the wine a serving man that could divine that most respected lady's every wish, ran and with the garden shears clipped an insolent farmer's ears, and brought them in a little covered dish. Some few remembered when I was young, a peasant girl commended by a song, who lived somewhere upon that rocky place, and praised the color of her face, and had the greater joy in praising her, remembering that if walked she there, farmers jostled at the fair. So great a glory did the song confer, and certain men, being maddened by those rhymes, or else by toasting her a score of times, rose from the table and declared it right to test their fancy by their sight. But they mistook the brightness of the moon for the prosaic light of day. Music had driven their wits astray, and one she was drowned in the great bog of Clune. The what now? Oh, the conversation back in the studio. Strange, but the man who made the song was blind. Yet, now I have considered it, I find that nothing strange. The tragedy began with Homer, that was a blind man, and Helen has all living hearts betrayed. Oh, may the moon and sunlight seem one inextricable beam, for if I triumph, I must make men mad, and I myself created Hanahan and drove him drunk or sober through the dawn. From somewhere in the neighboring cottages, caught by an old man's juggleries, he stumbled, tumbled, fumbled to and fro, and had but broken knees for hire, and horrible splendor of desire. I thought it all out 20 years ago. Good fellows shuffled cards in an old barn, and when that ancient ruffian's turn was on, he so bewitched the cards under his thumb that all but the one card became a pack of hounds and not a pack of cards, and that he changed into a hare. And Hanrahan rose up and friendly there. Do what now?
I thought we just talking. You told the story about you and your mother listening. This is the radio drama together.
Yes. I'm gonna continue with it, but and followed up those. How long is this thing? Wow, this is rather okay. This should occupy some good time. Hanrahan rose up in frenzy there and followed up those baying creatures towards. I have forgotten what. Enough. I must recall a man that neither love nor music nor an enemy's clipped ear could. He was so harried cheer, a figure that has grown so fabulous that there is not a neighbor left to say. When he finished his dog's day, an ancient bankrupt master of this house. Before that ruin came, for centuries, rough men-at-arms cross-gartered to the knees, or shod in iron climbed the narrow stairs, and certain men-at-arms there were whose images in the great memory stored come with loud cry and painting breast to break upon a sleeper's rest, while their great wooden dice beat on the board. As I would question all, come all who can, come old, necessitous, half-mounted man, and bring beauty's blind, rambling celebrant, the red man the juggler sent through God-forsaken shadows, Mrs. French, gifted with so fine an ear, the man drowned in a bog's mire, when mocking muses chose the country wench. Okay, this one is not smacking of any profound relevancy to the modern age. This is pretty replete with. Still, you can kind of. This is the sort of thing I would imagine Peter Gabriel had a deep fondness of in school. and you know what? There's its value. Did all old men and women, rich and poor, who trod upon these rocks or passed the door, whether in public or secret rage, as I do now against old age? Hi, Brendan. But, God, that's mean. I'm sorry. I must apologize for that.
Embrace my age.
You're aging with dignity. Of your own inimitable fashion. But I have found an answer in those eyes that are impatient to be gone. Go, therefore, but leave Hanrahan, for I need all his mighty memories. Old lecher with a love on every wind. God damn the things about you!
There you go. Mystery solved.
Hanrahan, Brendan O'Day, Hanrahan, we have an analog. Bring up out of that deep considering mind all that you have discovered in the grave, for it is certain that you have reckoned up every unforeknown, unseeing plunge, lured by a softening eye, or by a touch or a sigh, into the labyrinth of another's being. Does the imagination dwell the most upon a woman won or a woman lost? If on the lost admit you turned aside from a great labyrinth out of pride, cowardice, some silly, over-subtle thought, or anything called conscience once, and if memory recur, the sun's under eclipse and the day blotted out. It is time that I wrote my will. I choose upstanding men that climb the streams until the fountain leap, and at dawn drop their cast at the side of dripping stone, I declare they shall inherit my pride, the pride of people that were bound to neither cause nor to state, neither to slaves that were spat on, nor to the tyrants that spat, the people of Birken of Grattan that gave, though free to refuse, pride like that of the morn when the headlong light is loose, or that of the fabulous horn, or that of the sudden shower when all the streams are dry, or that of the hour when the swan must fix his eye upon a fading gleam, float out upon a long last reach of glittering stream, and there sing his last song. And I declare my faith. I mock Plotinus' thought, and cry in Plato's teeth, death and life were not till man made up the whole, made lock, stock, and barrel out of his bitter soul. Aye, sun and moon and star, all, and further add to that, being dead, we rise, dream, and so create translunar paradise. I have prepared my peace with learned Italian things and the proud stones of Greece, poets' imaginings and memories of love, memories of the words of women, all those things whereof man makes a superhuman mirror resembling dream. As at the loophole there the daws chatter and scream and drop twigs layer upon layer where they have mounted up, the mother bird will rest on their hollow top, and so warm her wild nest. I leave both faith and pride to young upstanding men, climbing the mountainside, that under bursting dawn they may drop a fly, being of that metal made, till it was broken by this sedentary trade. Now I shall make my soul, compelling it to study in a learned school, till the wreck of body, slow decay of blood, testy delirium, or dull decrepitude, or what worse evil come, the death of friends, or death of every brilliant eye that made a catch in the breath, seem but the clouds of the sky when the horizon fades, or a bird's sleepy cry among the deepening shades. You know, there is some good stuff there. There is some good stuff there. Read between the lines on Yeats. There is mockery of organized religion and of every human conceit. These are the things worth mocking. Yeats mocks them. I can dig it. I can dig it. I can get behind this. That was The Tower. I'm embarking upon this in the interest of finding one that I quite loved, and I've forgotten entirely the name of, and I have a collected book of Yeats somewhere that I can't find, and I don't think this is here. Index of Poems. Yep. Oh, I'm great.
So my guys will be back on at 7, and then we'll just work out from it.
Okay, good.
All right, bud. Thanks, man.
If worst comes to worst, you can break it into 2 hours.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll make it work.
All right. I take requests, Brendan. You have anything you want to hear me read? Is there anything that bears special meaning for a couple of raconteur atheists on this holiest of days?
Atheism poetry rostrums.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I'd forgotten how much of a beginning of that there was in Yeats for me.
Okay.
And you missed the last stanza there of The Tower, and there's some pretty good stuff on all of these fantasies being woven of men's minds.
So you saying he knew what he was doing?
He knew what he was doing. I mean, there were poets that wrote, that wrote seeking trying to codify some sort of justification for their faith and things, and then there was Yates, who kind of took a clear-eyed assessment of the total ridiculous, the absolute translunar absurdity of the human experience.
That was wordy. What does that mean? Sorry.
Mostly just it's it's all
Yates
wordy.
is cool.
It's all wordy. I mean, they're goddamn poems. Of course
No,
they're wordy.
I meant your explanation.
Oh well, I mean it's 9 o'clock. We can shift formats if you want. What do you want to do?
Is this live?
Is it live?
I don't know. Can you hear me in your headset?
I can't hear me in my headset.
Oh. I'm just here. Hold on one second. Don't say anything. Okay. I'm coming up here. So, am I getting? Are you seeing meter here?
There isn't the meter there.
There used to be. Is that the Ustream?
Yeah. There isn't a meter
right
for
here.
me.
There's a little meter right there. Am I coming through on that meter? It should.
Yeah, you
okay.
come through.
All right. So
you
then
come
I'm going
through
on there.
great. If anything, you're maybe a little hot. Am I coming through? I am. Am I coming through? I'm
Yeah,
coming
you're
through.
Yeah, you're firing off. You're
All right. Now you say a thing.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We're on the same level there.
All right. Yeah, we're
Okay.
in fine shape.
All
We're
right.
in fine shape here.
Here we go. Shaking things out on River West Radio, riverwestradio.com.
Absolutely. Yes.
No, I don't know that there's necessarily a need to shift format. I think you're onto something. A little.
Maybe something a little more accessible.
A little. Well, I'm just thinking of a secular message to send for all the non-religious types out there. Here's a little bit of holiday weekend, Christian holiday weekend poetry. He became a master on the day the Christian's master returned to this earth. His name is Bubba Watson. There you go.
That was nice.
That's the Bubba Watson poem. Bubba Watson won the Masters today.
Oh,
So he
did Bubba Watson win the Masters?
Bubba Watson won the Masters in a sudden death playoff. They were
With who?
gonna kill a golfer if somebody didn't win. That would be the greatest thing ever if somebody killed a golfer because
man.
he did not win.
I can't believe that they're talking about like restraining Tiger Woods from these violent outbursts. It's the most compelling golf television in
There's
years.
very little compelling in golf, but he beat Louis Oosthuizen, and the last name is spelled Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen. He beat Louis Oosthuizen. So you have Bubba Watson versus Louis Oosthuizen, and you can't beat that. When you have an Oosthuizen in the sudden death playoff, that's almost a nefarious enough name to put him into the category of Eastern European bad guy. He almost sounds like a guy who would run an oil company from like the North Sea off of Finland or something.
From his impossibly immaculate lair.
Yes, and I would say that lair probably has a summer home attached to it in Lithuania, because we know all the worst people come from Lithuania.
Yeah.
That's for you, Jeff Gergel.
Well, Jeff isn't from Lithuania, but his wife is, and his children's names are.
And she's the best. So
She's all right.
She
She's
got
pretty
out.
good.
She got out of the horribleness that is Lithuania. Everybody knows Lithuania is the worst. So
Now, Estonia is a libertarian paradise come true.
at least that's what
that's
the PR people are saying.
Well, that's the pitch I got on the place from Dr. Yuri Maltsev, PhD, from Carthage College.
Awesome. There you go. He's been there. He knows.
Yeah, and this dude was like in Gorbachev's cabinet or something.
Right. I was gonna say that's a name I recognize.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy.
I've met the man. He gave a talk at Tim Peterson's house back when I used to be more involved with the Libertarian Party.
Out by the freeway there. by the lake.
Yeah, by the lake. You've been.
Yeah, I've been there.
You've been there. You know. Okay, so you know.
We did a whole fiat currency study out there at Tim Peterson's house when Tim was a very active libertarian candidate.
It's amazing we never crossed paths then.
Yeah, I think it was kind of subject by subject.
Yeah, like what year was that?
Jesus, God, sorry. It was something around an election year, so it was either 2002, 2004,
All right.
somewhere in there.
If it was 04, then I was really hot and heavy like 02, 03. Like the Ed Thompson campaign for governor
Yeah,
was. Right. It was a huge deal for me. I worked very, very hard on that.
Wow. Well, I think there were.
Some scales fell away from my eyes in the process, which is good. I think everyone needs to plow themselves deeply into a political cause in their youth and just have their dreams shattered. It's important. It's a growing experience.
Well, I think it certainly can serve to expand your understanding of politics, but I think the thing that propagates the whole stupidity of American politics, or the inanity — I won't call it stupid, but I will call it inane — is this ridiculous notion of winning and losing, that when your particular political party wins in any given election, that the people actually harbor a belief of that something was actually won. What was won was a great amount of largesse, a great amount of job security for various bureaucrats that align themselves with each side, and very little in what's best for the public interest. That's the most overriding thing. Is I don't care which party wins, it's always bad for all of us.
That's the point I was trying to make for my dad today. You know, my dad, who has never in my life have I ever seen a political bumper sticker on any of my dad's vehicles.
Oh, no.
Not ever.
And what do we have?
On the side quarter glass of his Ford Ranger, we have "I Stand with Scott Walker."
Wow.
Yep.
But, I have my own particular dislike of the whole Recall Walker campaign. I probably have a lot to dislike about Scott Walker.
Well, I can't stand Scott Walker, but the recall's an expensive waste of time.
It's an expensive waste of time, but beyond that, it's also a circumstance where, here's the thing: politicians have made it so that they can't be prosecuted while in office. And we as an electorate have allowed this to occur and allowed this to continue. So if you're going to accept that, you then have to accept the stuff that goes along with it. So unless Scott Walker committed a criminal act, the way you have a recall election is this thing called an election. You wait till the election and then you vote him out because there was a percentage of the population that voted him in. If you choose to disagree with one, basically, this is almost a single issue recall. If you're going to do that and disagree on that level, to then force a recall is to just absolutely crap on the majority electorate that put him in office in the first place, and to prostitute a system that really should be in place to stop criminal activity, not unpopular activity. And that's what gets so frustrating with the whole recall thing, is that unless you get, and whatever, we can talk about all the great crimes that everyone's committed in office. I hold that whatever they're each going after each other for right now is largely stuff that they're each guilty of, and doesn't really rise to the level of criminal activity. I'm talking about, there's literally laws in place that prevent you from arresting a sitting president, even for something like murder. He's immune from prosecution while he's president. So that's the reason you have a recall, is to take someone out of office so they can be persecuted and prosecuted for the crimes that they're alleged to have committed, because you're still innocent until proven guilty in this country. But if the crime that they're alleged to have committed is so heinous that it's a criminal act, a felonious criminal act, not just something that's unpopular. When the last socialist mayor in America and the creator of the New Deal and one of the liberal icons of the 20th century both say it is in the worst of public service to have public unions possess a collective bargaining agreement, when you have FDR and Frank Zeidler saying it's a bad idea, how can you have Scott Walker be considered a vilifiable person for basically supporting what two of the greatest liberal minds, liberal icons of the last 20th century, of the last century, hold as being something that's bad?
Yeah, you know, I really managed to cheese off the AFL-CIO guy that came by my house, knocking on doors in my neighborhood.
Talking about what a bad guy Scott Walker was?
Well, he was talking about that, and like, well, he gave me an iPad with a whole bunch of different issues on it.
Did you get to keep the iPad?
No, I didn't get to keep the iPad.
You should have walked in the house with it. He gave it to me. I didn't steal it. He gave it to me.
I thought about doing it. He was a big guy. He was a big, tough-looking guy. I mean, it's
from the AFL-CIO. Well, there you
well,
go.
Go figure.
Yeah.
I mean, you.
So they're sending out union thugs now to
union thugs
to sway
knock
your
on
vote.
doors. Yeah, and basically I listened to his spiel, and then
Why
he's
didn't you
like,
call the cops? Was he black?
No, he wasn't black.
Why didn't you call the cops on him? Hey, there's this huge burly man outside with a piece of modern technology that's scaring me.
He's not scaring me.
Oh,
Nothing
okay.
scares me. I refuse to live in fear.
You actually do a good job with fear. You're pretty damn good at that. Ye of the fighting off the marauding hordes of muggers.
Yeah, I've done it twice.
I'll
do it again,
ladies and gentlemen.
No, basically he gave me his whole spiel, and I agreed with him. Yes, our state government is almost irrevocably corrupt, just inherently and thoroughly. And
all that means is we're late to the dance.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I feel like, specific moneyed interests have far too much undue influence in this, and then sure, I'd love to do something about it. And then he's like, so can I sign you up then? I'm like, sign me up for what? And he's like, support the AFL-CIO. And I'm like, they're just as corrupt as
Thank you very
everybody
much.
else.
Thank you very much.
I'm like, look, their whole thing is staying in business to keep the guys at the top rolling in dues.
Now wait a minute. What was the AFL-CIO signing people up for?
I don't know what they were signing people up for.
Were they offering jobs to people on the street?
They were signing people up to give them money.
They're a union.
Yep.
They've got thousands of people giving them money against their will every month.
No, they were fundraising, I think.
Fundraising?
Door to door.
The AFL-CIO is out fundraising.
Yep.
That is a unique. I am going to go out and I'm going to start fundraising for the BODBANCACCT. That is the Brendan O'Day bank account. I am going to go out and start fundraising for the BODBANCACCT, because if they can just go out, they're an entity that has massive streams of income from all the people that they represent. And confiscate against their will numerous dollars monthly. They're out fundraising. Screw you, AFL-CIO. Hey, WEAC, why don't you give me a call and come see if I'd like to contribute to your ridiculous cause.
Yes, that's right. We are anti-union, but that is because we are anti-establishment.
Exactly.
You can't help but the more authority an organization has, the less you should trust them, and
the larger the abuse pattern will be.
Yeah, it's and I said, look, the AFL-CIO is only really, their whole deal is money and power, and he's like, well, if that were true, I wouldn't be out here.
Sure, whatever.
And I'm like, well, apologies to you, big burly bearded AFL-CIO guy, on your the pathetic true believerism. You are a tool in a machine. You can be replaced as simply and directly as any other tool in a machine, but God, won't they soak you on the way.
Without a doubt. That's amazing. Wow, and he's a true believer. I have friends that are true believer Democrats that believe that the Democrats are talking the right stuff and doing the right thing, and they're the savior of all the peoples. I think my favorite thing to ever see, and I'm going to get flack from this from some of my comedy friends that I'm stealing somebody else's joke, but the funny thing is the guy that first told this locally told it on the same weekend that I took the same picture, and I still have a copy stored on my computer. He was actually using the coexist bumper sticker. I saw it as the tolerance bumper sticker. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's the same kind of thing as the coexist with all the religious symbols. Well, there's a tolerance one as well that has all the secular and non-secular symbols on it to represent what people are supposed to be tolerating, and they. Right next to the tolerance bumper sticker is the recall Scott Walker bumper sticker, and I'm like, how tolerant is that? How is that even remotely tolerant? When no one's given his policies a chance to take hold, they've only lambasted everything that he's done. Which quite frankly, I can't enumerate the things he's done. I can't even tell you how much I don't pay attention to politics anymore above dog catcher because, quite frankly, until somebody deals with the roaming dog problems in my neighborhood, I'm not interested in what's happening to some idiot's, some overpaid person's pension fund. Oh, I know you teachers, none of you are overpaid. I know. But
all politics, as they say, is local.
yeah, I disagree with that. I believe all politics is rooted in corruption and in largesse. And everything is about protecting the incumbents and doing everything they can. Oh, God, I can't even go off on this rant. I hate the whole discussion so much. So, anyway.
Totally fine. We can get back to anything else you like.
That's okay.
I mean, really, it's...
I'll go back to bashing the AFL-CIO. No, I'm kidding. They're great. They should be out fundraising for their political action committee, which is all they really are. For anyone to believe that they're a non-profit organization is absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. And I'm not sure if it's them or if it's the UAW or what, but I know one of the big unions is actually dipping into their savings for day-to-day operations.
Oh, good for them. Maybe they'll go the way of the freaking dinosaur and die hard.
You know, and as times constrict, you're gonna. It's like watching Wolverines eat each other. The desperation.
That's pretty good. Sure.
Yeah.
So it's 9/17 on Sunday night, the 8th, Easter Day, the anniversary of the rising of the Christ child after being persecuted and strung up to dry and
happy
left to
dude
die.
on a stick day, everybody. Happy dude on a stick day.
Dude on a stick. Let's talk about them Jews that strung that Jeebus up. Let's talk about the Jews that took Jesus down.
Hey,
I can't even say it with a straight face.
They're lovely people. You know, seriously, I'm single. I thought about going on J-Date just for the hell of it.
I just think it's great that that they don't recruit, that they don't ring my doorbell. That's about the best thing I think that any religion can aspire to, is to not ring my doorbell on a Saturday morning. So big ups, Jews. Thanks very much for staying away from my door and not recruiting. That's to me is the best political move you can make as a religion, is don't recruit. Give a hoot, don't recruit.
Absolutely.
It's the Woodsy Owl Party. Oh, I'm glad I joined the radio program tonight.
I am too. It's a pleasure having you. We have wonderful conversations, and this is basically River West Radio is kind of it's like an excuse to have excellent conversations.
It is.
Not that we need an excuse, but it's a very lovely one.
It's a lovely excuse. It's
Absolutely.
a good moment of digression that when you get very specific, you put a microphone in somebody's face and it can coalesce their thinking and certainly get them to focus. So it's a good thing.
Which is necessary. Frequently, especially for me. My thought patterns are just so dissolute these days.
They're dissolute. What?
I have a hard time focusing on a task. at hand. I have no idea what direction my life is going to go in. I mean,
So shoving a microphone in your face makes you focus?
not necessarily that it makes me
Because I
focus,
can
but
walk around
it sure makes
all
me
the time.
look like I'm doing something, and that's important.
I can walk around all the time with a boom and just shove it in your face if that'll be the thing that gets you where you want to go.
Oh, you think about what is the most direct way to generate content and notoriety and I don't know. Even going into that, it's like just trying to remember how to want things.
Sure. I get
And
that.
I've talked about this with you before. But
Sure.
It's every day. It's like you know. I mean, it's people can do anything they choose to. As hard as they want to hit something, they can hit it, pedal to the metal. Our limitations on a variety of levels are, I mean, we are as much prisoners of our own minds as we are of any penal institution, with the exception of, you know, the fact that 25% of the world's prisoners live here in America.
That's an interesting digression. I was going to agree with the first part of that.
Yeah.
That is without a doubt the single most common circumstance is people getting in their own way. Is people.
We are all prisoners here of our own device.
Wow. Heavy philosophy tonight from the likes of Don Henley and Glenn Fry, those two great philosophers of the 20th century.
And it's all we're going to have going forward. You know, I mean, what's going to survive of the 20th century?
What's going to survive?
Yeah, what is going to survive? You know, we live in an age of such massive proliferation of media.
Yeah.
And we have the old stuff that we still have, we largely still have because it was good enough to keep around. All the crap kind of got thrown out.
Do you really think so? I think a lot of times the crap is what rises to the top because it's got a lowest common denominator factor that the masses, the great unwashed, whatever you want to call
I
them,
suppose.
That's what they embrace is oftentimes the worst things of any given century.
You know, you might be right. Hang on to your Thomas Kincaid prints, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. Man is in 10 million homes. Quite possibly the most horrific definition of what art is.
You know,
and
he died this last week.
54 years old.
54
He
years
kicked
old.
the bucket. And
Made over $110 million a year.
a year.
A year.
Get that into your head, folks.
$110 million a year for basically illustrations of, I don't know, where Hummels live.
Yeah, well, I thought what I find beautiful, I guess. This is what really shocked me. I thought Thomas Kincaid had died decades ago. I thought Thomas Kincaid had functioned as an artist, that he was already an accomplished artist in the 40s and 50s, and that people were hanging on to these horrific bits of Drek out of nostalgia, much like a Rockwell. Now, Norman Rockwell managed to capture in the expressions of the subjects of his work something intrinsic about Americana and history and life experience. Thomas Kincaid's was a caricature. His work was a caricature that was so blasphemously outlandish that they tried to make developments like physical towns be Thomas Kincaid subdivisions.
Really?
I don't know if you're aware of this. There's
I
literally
was unaware
there's
of
several
that.
locations around the country. There was supposed to be one in Wisconsin. It never came and never got off the ground. But it's a neighborhood that is like the Thomas Kincaid. And I mean, I'm sure there's people. To me, it would be a lot like a Parrot Headville if there was like a Margaritaville became a real subdivision. And I swear you could instantly.
There are real restaurants.
Oh, absolutely. But I believe you
People
could
go to New
immediately.
Orleans and eat there, which amazes me.
I believe you could populate a subdivision in Southern California and in Florida focused solely and targeted solely at the Parrot Heads, the followers of Jimmy Buffett, And you could have cheeseburger and margarita stands on every corner, and they would be some of the most viable businesses in America. I believe there are that many people like that would flock to that, just like people flock to Thomas Kincaid.
It's amazing, though, but I mean, you think about a world where people live in Thomas Kincaid subdivisions, suddenly, Jimmy Buffett looks like Bob Dylan.
Kind of like, yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
Why can't people, like, just embrace more
Quality.
well,
Interest
not necessarily
in things of
quality,
interest.
but more just inherent opposition. I feel like even
good question.
even I myself have become complacent. Like I occasionally go along to get along. I've seen myself do this.
Well,
it's a thing of myself. I don't know where it came from.
expedience is a wonderful thing.
Expedience, yes, and there's something to be said for keeping the peace and being, trying to.
How about the notion of gaming the system? There's a certain elegance in fighting against a system while you simultaneously maximize your utility within the system. There's a real problem in that a lot of people, like I bashed my head against the system for literally a couple of decades until I realized that probably the best thing to do is fight the system from within. And try to exist on the periphery as opposed to taking it on head on.
I've been on the periphery my whole life, and I've been going through life basically in the interest of, I don't know, doing as little work as possible and getting the biggest return on it.
There you go. And I think that's what if you focus on that and maximize to that end, that's the highest calling, I think, in a society that's gone as corrupt as ours has. We have a neighboring state that 4 of the last 6 governors have been jailed. We have a state where our former Senate leader is a former felon, but then through more backroom dealing was deemed to not be a felon. His case was just whatever. Come on, people.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm supposed to want to climb, though. I'm supposed to want to rise to the pinnacle of media. I want to be a millionaire and get to lick champagne off of Paris Hilton's tits.
Well, that's one imposed goal or norm that's supposed to be sought after as the highest order. There's some real beauty. There's some real high art in pursuing what you want to pursue, irrespective of those demands of society. Almost shunning those demands, those imperatives. And saying, you know what, I've done that. And I have been on that side. I have made the big money, and to pursue something that I feel to be truer than money is the higher pursuit, is the higher calling.
Penn Jillette just had a great piece about that, like a little aftermath of his sojourn in Trump's world.
Okay.
And this thing he tried to orchestrate with the Blue Man Group. And the Latin he pulled out was Visa dell'arte or something like that, which was basically the idea that art is better than money. Basically, it's a really great piece. I wish I could pull up where to read it. Penn Jillette just wrote up how he managed to make Clay Aiken incredibly pissed off at him. They had to distribute X amount of dollars as part of a charity. So they brought the Blue Man Group in to come up with something. And the Blue Man Group don't care about money. It's just really not a thing that... It's not their driving force, apparently. I know you raise your eyebrow. This is hearsay.
I'm curious as...
Well, what they did is they blew up a huge balloon with something like $10,000 in cash inside this big balloon, and then just popped the balloon in a crowded public space, and the money went everywhere instead of going specifically to people that Clay Aiken wanted to give money to make them look good. And
but I'm curious as to the whole Blue Man Group thing being something that's not profit driven.
Yeah,
as far as I knew them to be, they're a very viable Vegas act.
Yeah,
they're a traveling company. They've had a running thing in Chicago for more than 8 years. and I don't know that they give away tickets for free. As I've seen it, I've seen ticket prices as high as $80. I don't know how that translates to. I honestly I don't know if what they're spending with their net reward
I can't
is.
speak to it. I'm not in the world of it, and I'm sure everyone is at least a little bit suspect. I'm sure. But
Well, I'm just curious. I'm utterly unaware of any connection of the Blue Man Group to nonprofit or extreme charitable giving. I've never heard any connection.
this may
to that.
merit some.
A little bit of research. I've
Yeah.
never heard of this circumstance.
Yeah, well, Penn Jillette's a pretty reliable source. I mean, just as far as like he's.
Yeah, no, I think
he's
you're right in
he
that.
stood up for principle at the expense of popularity at certain times, and I mean,
Yeah.
You want to talk about a public service? I mean, their show on A&E, bullshit.
It's not on A&E.
It was on A&E. That was an A&E show.
I thought it was a Showtime thing.
No, A&E
From the beginning.
from the beginning.
I thought it was a premium cable channel thing.
A&E isn't a premium cable channel.
No, it's a basic cable channel. It's not a subscription service. Is what I'm getting at.
I am utterly convinced that it was A&E.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I can always say I could be wrong. You can find out. But no, I mean that's you know, taking people to task for their ludicrous beliefs, and that's necessary in our culture.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody does that.
No, I've always
We accommodate and give people an incredible amount of free license to believe whatever sort of dangerous claptrap they want to.
sure.
But when anybody stands up and utilizes freedom of speech for this wonderful thing to have a dialogue with and to challenge people on their own ground, and I mean, what good is an idea if you never test it to find out what kind of load it can bear?
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
We don't do a lot of that. We like to get our set of ideas and then wrap ourselves up in them like a cocoon and bang along haphazardly through life, ensconced in our little cocoon of ideas. Break
Sure.
out of your cocoon, people.
Uh,
You shed the chrysalis. We can all be bright, shimmering butterflies in the light of day.
yeah. Right. Exactly.
I'm a model of positive thinking. I'm an encouragement to the children at home.
Penn and Teller's bullshit aired from 2003 to 2010 on Showtime.
On Showtime. It was Showtime. Okay, never mind.
And on
It was Showtime. You were right. I
on
was wrong.
Wednesday, October 5th, 2011, a new show called Penn and Teller Tell a Lie began airing on the Discovery Channel. So
I am the only reason I thought it was A&E because it's because both Penn and Teller and A&E use an ampersand very heavily in their branding.
That's true.
That's-
But all 6 episodes of Penn and Teller Tell a Lie aired on the Discovery Channel and completed airing on the 9th of November 2011. It was the last time they had a show on TV. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that a lot of other networks aren't going to pick up
Showtime.
sanitized reruns
Showtime.
of
Sure.
Penn and Teller's bullshit.
Yeah, it's worth seeking out whenever.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find there's stuff to disagree with. You'll find there's stuff that they gave short shrift to that needed more explanation. But all in all, on balance, some pretty valuable stuff.
I'm certainly not holding them up as saying these people are right, believe whatever they say without thinking about it. I don't say that about anybody.
Well, right.
Nobody should ever say that about anybody.
I would agree.
Don't believe anything anybody tells you, especially me, without questioning it.
See what he did there? Did you see what he did there?
It's called being self-effacing, and I regard it as a virtue. And me and about 15 other people.
But you said
we get together sometimes and stare at our navels.
You said never listen to me as you were expecting people to listen to you. That's where the humor lies.
Oh no! I said never. No, never listen to anybody, especially me, without questioning.
I question whether that's a good idea. I think I should listen to everything Tim Hansen says and not question it.
Why?
Because that's me questioning what you just said. See how that works? I'm now being signed to. Those of you watching on Ustream got to see what that was. I have no idea what that was.
That's not a sign. I was just. I don't believe in signs.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And they say, do this, don't do that.
Can't
you read the sign?
The sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have longer hair, and then I got it chopped off up there. Good old $6 style cut up on Oakland next to Otto's Fine Beverage Mart place. $6 style cut, home of the $6 style cut.
The $6 style cut.
Actually, honestly, this is kind of, it sticks up really weird unless I comb it after I get out of the shower. Like this whole side of my head just like
I don't think you could blame that on the stylist.
No,
I think
my
that's
hair is-
DNA.
Yeah, my hair is thick and wavy and luxuriant by its very nature.
That's his hair.
Yes.
That's thick, wavy, and luxuriant. Is it luxuriant or luxurious?
No, luxuriant.
Okay.
Luxurious would be like if someone were to use it as a couch.
You heard it.
Luxuriant is it's like to describe like any exotic fur-bearing mammal. Say mink and
Oh, it's the Muppet movie. It's 9:35 here on River West Radio at riverwestradio.com. You're listening to the Tim Hansen, the T.W. Hansen radio
Sunday
hour.
Radio thinger.
The Sunday night
ostensibly
live radio
drama.
play.
I carry you through the Sunday evening and make you feel warm and fuzzy.
And it's a lot of high drama here
always
tonight
drama.
on River West Radio. It's truly high drama, and it's more of what you couldn't stand to listen to during the week. So the beauty of a community radio service like this is getting local issues aired and put out there that otherwise may not be disseminated to the whole of River West. This way you can just tune in on riverwestradio.com. Tell your friends.
riverwestradio.com. Also, if anybody's listening, I'm looking for kitchen cabinets, especially a nice corner bass piece with a Lazy Susan. Really could use one.
36-inch corner bass.
36-inch corner
That's
bass.
what Tim Hansen is after.
Yep.
It'd be awesome if you could-
TW. Tim Hansen. Who the hell is that guy? That guy's dead.
Wow, T.W. Hansen.
TW Hansen.
All right.
I'm trying to stick to a thing. It's hard. It's hard to make a decision and stick to it, and be anything.
That's the sword you're falling on. is the recent affectation. All right.
A
Well, that's
sword?
good.
I'm not gonna fall on a.
All right. Well, that's what Tim Hansen's gonna fall and die on.
I don't know if I'm gonna
is
fall.
T.W. Hansen. See, here's what it gives him. It gives him that certain cachet of being able to say, see, he's T.W. on the couch circuit, on the interview circuit. Then to all his friends on the set, they'll call him Tim, and that's how you'll know who is a true FOT. And
well,
it's much like people calling Robert De Niro Bobby.
All right, well, actually, honestly, and this is sincerely what it is, and this is Easter, so I'll talk about it.
Okay,
Timothy is it's a biblical name, and that's why I'm trying to eschew it presently.
But what about all those people named Timothy before the Bible was written?
Good point.
Very good point, because Timothy in the Bible was not the first Timothy, even though his book is called First Timothy.
Yes.
He was not the first Timothy.
But-
That's more propaganda brought to you by Religion Incorporated.
But in my case, it is very specifically a biblical name, because in 1 Timothy, Eunice is the mother of Timothy.
Hey, that's awesome.
My mother's name is Eunice.
Yeah, that's
which
awesome.
Is why I am named Timothy.
Coincidence is a crappy thing.
No, it's not a coincidence. She chose it.
but she chose that. That was
Yes.
her reason for choosing
Yes.
it. Your having that name does not mean that's the path which you have been assigned. That's whether you accept it or not.
Were it not for this, I would be Warren Eugene Hansen III, which would have been kind of awesome in retrospect.
And then you'd be Wee Hansen.
Yeah, we.
So
Yeah,
I'd be happy.
W-E.
I'd be happy that you didn't wind up with the
I like
acronym WEH.
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 Yeah.
You'd be WEH. WEH.
It is. Yeah. Warren. Yeah. Eugene.
And you'd have been ridiculed as wee all the way home.
All the way.
Look at he just weed on himself. That I can't even tell you. Having the name Brendan, which every single teacher I had all the way through college, on the first day or the first encounter they would have with my name, I was called Brenda. Because in the early 1970s, late 60s, early 70s, all the way through the 80s, no one had seen the name Brendan. They'd all seen the name Brenda. We had Brenda Vaccaro already. We had other.
Now there's lots of Brendans.
There's lots
And
of
I
Brendans.
can't remember the last time I met a Brenda.
But I haven't been in school in 25 years. It was all during that school time that every single person I encountered in a professional capacity called me Brenda the first time they encountered me. They just weren't careful. And so you get called that by your classmates with the greatest of ridicule, and you then you have one of two solutions to that problem. You either roll with it and come up with ways to deal with it, or you pout and cower and whine and become the subject of greater ridicule. Is that still functioning? It kicks off from time to time.
No, it's still going.
Oh,
It's
good.
still going. I'm just trying to keep an eye on levels. It'd be nice if we had more cord on this thing, like be able to, so that two
Sure.
people can.
Yeah, that'd be great. But
Yeah.
that wasn't the circumstance. I think it should come up on a mount at the back that would be on a swivel that could easily travel that distance, because it would be the same distance from whatever the mounting point would be. But that's not going to happen for now. If somebody would care to donate a swivel mount, like a desktop computer monitor desk edge mount,
Such as what might have been used for the ancient CRT monitors and what is now completely functionally obsolete, we can repurpose it for a good thing here at
Yep.
River West Radio.
even
So-
any of those desk edge mount arms that used to hold a monitor up off of a desk surface, anything like that would be really super welcome and utilized here at riverwestradio.com. River West Film and Video, 824 Center Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thanks for helping out, everybody.
East Center.
Sorry, 824 East Center.
824
Correct.
East Center.
824 Center. If you just went
That's
ambiguously.
a mistake that could get you shot.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
well, actually, no.
That's
824 West Center would be the
no, it's not the freeway, because I think 10th runs along the freeway. Oh, that's 7th.
seventh.
It does duck
So,
over
yeah,
that far.
All right, so
Yeah.
it would be
It
impossible.
would be in the
yeah.
middle of the freeway.
You would be, yeah, it could get you run over.
It
Actually.
could get you
So,
run over.
Yeah, so.
But not because Center actually has a bridge going across the freeway, doesn't it? Or is that right?
No, Center does have
Center
a bridge.
does as well.
Center
Okay.
has a bridge.
So you'd be standing on the overpass, watching traffic go by, trying to hand a Schneider National truck driver a computer monitor arm, side mount arm, at 65 miles an hour.
And then
That
the
would be a neat
yep,
trick.
Yep, and then the tornado comes and blows him away.
Is there a tornado coming tonight?
No. Schneider National, their depot in Texas got hit real hard by a tornado.
Oh, really?
They lost a bunch of trucks.
Oh, that's too bad for them.
They're up and running again.
I'm glad
they
they-
were insured.
I'm
Your
sure
tax dollars are worth it.
I'm sure they had an insurance policy that
Yep.
covered that.
Um,
All right.
because remember to bow before your masters, who are the insurance industry.
That's right.
God hope none of us ever get really, really properly sick.
Well, it's 48 degrees here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is 9:43 here at riverwestradio.com. And you, too, can participate in River West Radio. riverwestradio.com is currently seeking out broadcasters for the early day parts, approximately 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. most days of the week. Stop on by River West Film and Video to schedule a potential time. Pick an issue, pick an idea, pick an idiom, pick a concept, and disseminate upon that concept as
wanna
you
do,
see fit.
Whatever you got to share. There is a little webcam, but I mean you can turn the webcam. I guess you could like point it the other way if you want to come in and be naked on the radio. Well, you're in the front.
There's
you
no
do a
reason.
broadcast from the front window.
There's no reason you couldn't be naked and have the camera here.
It's true.
I mean,
it's true.
let's be real here.
Yeah, it's true.
So.
That's probably not a good idea. I probably shouldn't encourage. I should encourage that. We embrace the charismatic bad idea.
The charismatic. Yeah.
It doesn't have to
yeah.
be good. It just has to
Yeah.
be interesting.
That's what it is.
That's
the charismatic
what we
bad
want.
idea.
That's what we want.
We're a
Doesn't
bunch
have
of
to be good. It just has
badasses
to be
here at
interesting.
River West Radio.
Rather good things happen or interesting things happen. I go for interesting.
Here's the best part. Clearly,
Explains my
nobody's listening right
relationship
now. Here in the Milwaukee market.
Yeah, we have 0 viewers on Justin TV, and we have. I can't tell how many we have on. Does it say? Typically, it'll say on Ustream. I could.
No, I don't see anything that says maybe it's deeper in the metrics of the show.
Yeah, I'll actually watch our own show here on Ustream, and this verifies that we're working.
There you go.
On air. Yes, I am the current viewer.
How come every iPhone ringtone is a part of the Muppet movie? That's the second the honking horn we heard before.
Yeah.
That's my alarm on my phone.
Yeah, mine too.
Now that's one of the ringtone riffs. That's the piano riff ringtone. Why? Who at the Muppet movie is so enamored by their iPhone that that things like let's see if I can get it out here. Here it is.
Well, no. From the movie was the actual guitar riff from
Bad to the Bone. I get that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what was the impetus for that? How did this?
Which is
How did this? That's what you just heard.
we heard that.
That's right off the list of standard loaded iPhone sounds. Listen to that. Hey, everybody, wake the hell up. It's time to wake up. Listen to the music. Listen to the word of the iPhone. That is your new religion. That is your new place to be.
Oh yes, yeah. And incidentally, this is the 12 South book case, which is available at the Apple Store. I think it runs about $30. It even has the little bookmark tab you can to hold your phone in place. The one drawback is that it does not have the hole for the camera, which would be nice. And yes, I bought the white one. Hipster, give me a break. Love my phone. Love my wonderful iPhone. No, it's good. It's good. It's good having the iPhone. Religion brought us thousands of years of pain and suffering and guilt and misery and social degradation. Apple brought us the iPhone. I'll go for technology. I can dig it. Brendan is listening to the soothing sounds that he can make his device emanate.
This is my normal ringtone right here.
That's not bad. Like I'd miss it. Mine is the one that sounds like a phone.
Oh.
And I swear everyone has that because it's the only normal sounding ringtone on the thing. So
Here's my favorite one. That's Formula One.
that's cool. That's cool.
Here's my kid's favorite one. Chicken Impossible.
Chicken Impossible. Yep, there you have it, folks. Layla Schifrin in a white suit and string tie.
Ring, 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 banana phone. Ring, 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 banana phone. I've got this feeling so appealing for us to get together and sing, sing. Ring, 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 banana phone. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding, banana phone. It grows in bunches. I've got my hunches.
This is sort of a meditation on where America is
It is.
right now.
This used to be your ringtone right here.
No, it wasn't.
That was your ringtone when you would call me.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
That is a BMW M3 V8 with a microphone mounted to the back of the vehicle in the airspace, in the turbulent airspace, recording mostly the exhaust sound of the V8. It's pretty special.
Excellent.
This was Desmond Jones's ringtone for me.
That is higher end. Can I identify that?
Oh, good luck.
Are we Italian?
No.
Are we German?
Yep,
Are we Porsche?
we are.
Well, I'm glad I didn't, but when I was coming over here,
Are we are we a competition vehicle?
We are.
I don't think I slept much.
Are we the 962?
Nope. Good guess, though.
Not terribly, but like 10:30. I don't know, like
Boy, I think I don't think I'll. It's all numbers. I'll do badly.
It was a fairly rare German DTM car from the early 80s. It is a turbocharged 928 5-liter turbocharged Porsche motor.
but anyway.
Fairly rare. So there you go.
Very nice.
Weird, obscure recordings that act as ringtones on iPhones that that just don't equate to much, except this. Little sugar plum fairy action.
You know, I really have a bone to pick for whoever picked the music for the Muppet movie. That's
Pretty
playing in
pathetic,
the
wouldn't you
background.
say?
It's utterly pedestrian.
It's utterly pedestrian.
It's like they went out of their way to pick the most shop-worn anthems of the last 30 years.
I would say broad. There's an extraordinarily broad selection of music designed to capture the most pedestrian of attitudes.
That's really kind of tragic because, I mean, the Muppets in their stride were as
Very cutting edge.
yeah,
very much pushing boundaries.
Yes, yeah. There's none of that.
None of that
It's all
anymore.
just-
They did, however,
Hammy
forever
nostalgia.
wrought us with the snappy commentary by senior citizens, all because of the Muppet Show. I thoroughly lay that at their feet for creating senior citizens who think that they're worth listening to.
And where would you be?
Oh, it's fabulous. The look on your face, like you're so displeased with my my ransacking of the value of the average senior citizen. But the look on the face of the woman in the Altera this morning, that as Danny Friedman and I were talking about, I can't remember exactly what. but it was about the believability of certain people in certain situations. And I said, that's much like knowing how and when a lawyer, how do you know when a lawyer is lying? And he looked at me quizzically, and this woman at the other table completely stopped looking at her iPod or her iPad, looked up and was looking directly at me, and we were sitting kitty corner from each other. So she literally looks up and looks diagonally straight at me.
Yep.
Focused move of her head to find out clearly the husband is a lawyer.
Yep.
And I said, "Oh, that's because their lips are moving." And the husband has heard this so many times, he didn't even react. As a lawyer in his 50s, 60s, probably 60s, maybe even 70s, he knew not to even look because he did not want to give it away. His wife was only so happy to give it away because she's lived off the largesse of his chosen profession.
Yep.
So one of my other...
And good luck any of the current crop of lawyers getting flung out there and getting the same kind of largesse. You're really going to have to fight for it, boys.
When I wrote for a college newspaper in the late 80s, I coined a phrase that I believe is still in use today, though I've never received credit for it. And the term I coined was, at least I was the first person that I know to have used it, was entrepreneurial lawyerism. Was that there were so many people in law school at that time that there were not going to be any jobs or use for them unless lawyers created new things for themselves to do.
And they're very good at that.
They're very good at that. They find things to sue about. They find they file lawsuits that are wholly
Put themselves
nuisance
in
and
places where they can draft legislation that, wonder of wonders, is so thick and dense
that
and,
nobody could
and
ever make heads nor tail out of it.
bar for a lawyer.
Bar for a lawyer.
Whole new field of lawyers that can
Right.
offer you their services so
Right.
that you don't break this law that they wrote.
Did you ever find it interesting?
Disingenuous.
You ever find it interesting that the IRS has more lawyers on staff than accountants? There's a number for you.
And have you noticed the exponential growth in number of pages of the tax code?
Funny how that goes hand in hand, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 9:56 on Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 8th, here on RiverWestRadio.com. The source at River West Film and Video on 824 East Center Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You've been listening to the T.W. Hansen Drama Hour that is now stretched for 3 hours. And
2.
oh, didn't you start at 7? No,
Start at
8 o'clock. All right,
No,
there you go.
it's Spider Mike and the Rabbi.
Oh, okay. Well, let me take a second to plug a few things. My name is Brendan O'Day. I'm a comedian here in the Milwaukee area. Every Wednesday night at okay, he's going to spin the camera on me here.
I was going to try to.
Every Wednesday night, yeah, we should get this on a lazy Susan kind of a swivel. Every Wednesday night at Stage Right inside the Miramar, the old Mirabar, the old Lemon Lounge on Oakland and Locust in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have an open mic scheduled at 7 p.m. until about 9:30 p.m. Sign up is at 6:45 every Wednesday night. Please stop by if you're of the comedian sort. If you're interested in watching some really good young comics developing in the Milwaukee area, you can come to that open mic, see some really good comedy. What sets our open mic apart is we end every show with a 20-minute super slot where you get to see a Milwaukee-based or area-based performer who's getting ready to hit the road. I shouldn't even say that. We've actually even had a couple of times we've had some national headliners come through and use that 20-minute super slot to work out new material. Also on Tuesday, April 10th, this coming Tuesday, 2 days from now, I will be appearing on the Tommy Franklin Show on RedDragon.tv, based in Madison, Wisconsin. Tommy Franklin Show is an entertainment variety show, and apparently I'm only the third comic to appear on this show, so I'm pretty excited about that. The show's been running for 12 years. They average about 8,000 viewers per episode, and 20 to 50,000 views in the opportunity to see it after it's been uploaded and archived on the web. So tune into RedDragon.tv. The Tommy Franklin Show, 7 p.m. on Tuesday, the 10th of April. And come by Wednesday, the open mic at the Miramar Theater's Sidebar, the Stage Right Bar. Wednesdays at you know the time. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock to 9:30. There's something else I was doing recently that I was plugging. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've got a show right here on riverwestradio.com on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. It's the Brendan O'Day, Sam Caban Extempor radio show. We speak extemporaneously about all the wonderful things that are happening here in River West and in our lives. And Tim Hansen, T.W. Hansen, approves of our name. We love that. Time's 9:59. Sunday, April 8th. I don't know where September just came from, but it's 9:59. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Final words, Mr. Hansen?
You have summarized pretty much everything you couldn't ask for a better button. That was tidy, it was professional, it was everything we've come to expect from you in this capacity.
Thanks.
Good
Thanks
job.
so much,
And-
TW.
all right, and what do you want to do? You want to get some tacos, or what do you think?
I'm good for food tonight, but I'll accompany
food.
you if you want to head down there.
Don't need much, really. I don't know.
But we can
Like I
certainly
said-
grab a beer somewhere. Hey,
A
do
beer
yourselves a
somewhere
favor
sounds
and
good.
grab a beer and get out there and enjoy the last bits of this long weekend. And if you have kids tomorrow because school's let out, may the God that does not exist save your soul. Have a great night, everybody.
Yep. Happy Dead Guy on a Stick Day, everybody. Take it easy.